Hey guys, Robbie here from CrossFit South Bend. Today I'm here with Coach Brandon, who is the co-owner and CEO of CrossFit South Bend. And today we're going to be talking to him about what he's eating. All right, Brandon, thanks so much for being with us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Robbie.
You're welcome. So, first of all, tell us about what eating was like growing up.
It was traditional. When I was hanging with my parents last night, I called my mom's to make sure that my memory was still on point. Cereal for breakfast, normal, traditional American stuff. You're looking at peanut butter and jellies, pizza rolls, something like that for lunch. We always had, I remember this distinctly, like theme night, spaghetti night, taco night, pizza night, all those kind of nights. She did cook good food. She wanted to make sure we get that out. She did make homemade chicken noodle soup, which was fantastic, still up to this day. But yeah, they worked real hard for us. So that's a shout out to my parents. Love you guys. Yeah.
So, tell us about the journey. We'll get to what you're eating currently in just a second, but tell us about the journey from when you started finding about how to kind of eat healthy to now. Like, what did that journey look like? You know, finding about the zone and paleo and all these different things.
Yeah. In the past, it was kind of, you have me growing up through adolescence, and you're getting your information through marketing. You're getting it through Flex magazine or your bro that says you need to eat more protein and, do whatever it is. And you stop in the vitamin shop, they give you horrible advice. Not want to say vitamin shop specifically, but any kind of supplement store like that, they're just going to give you, some just general advice. Then we get into the CrossFit era, and it made me a little more dogmatic about things. You get under the zone and you get into things like that. I weighed and measured in the zone for 2 years aggressively, blocks, and then you become less and less dogmatic, ideally. And you start to realize that there is no one size fits all. There's no right diet for anyone. There is only principles that work for some people and better for other people. So you have to be more self-aware of what works really well for you and what your goals are in training, in life, and in nutrition and things like that, and what's sustainable for you in your life. So I think being really honest with that happened, over the last 3 or 4 years since I started working with OPEX and some of my other mentors and things like that, and just having a ton of discussions with you and stuff like that. So yeah.
Awesome. So tell us what eating is like now. How do you eat on a day-to-day basis? And we'll talk about your meals. Tell us about everything with regard to how you're eating now.
How am I eating now? So everyone out there in the audience, if you saw Mitch's and Carl's video, they said they prepared meticulously some meals. Their stuff doesn't look like that. I'm going to tell you that right now. It doesn't look like
real stuff.
This is real stuff. So typically what I like to do, and what happens more often than not, is Costco runs on Sundays, bulk food. I think I've got like 5 crock pots at home. That's an exaggeration. I've got like 3 or 4. But things go in crock pots. I generally have an idea of how much protein I eat a day, which extrapolates to how much per month that I'll actually need. And that goes into some, just general type containers. What I'm going to do is make a bunch of proteins. My carbs are coming from vegetables, and I usually keep carbs here at the gym because I'll eat most of the carbs post-workout, fueling for that. Or sometimes, depending on my training, I may not need as many carbs, so it's just trivial here. Things are cooked in fat, and because I know I don't do too well with nuts, most of it's just coming from oils and things like that. So I cook in bulk. And what do we got here? We got some chicken casserole. That was in a big old thing. Dump a bunch of eggs and chicken in there. I make things for fuel and for taste. It has to have a decent blend. If you ask some of the other coaches here, it's got to be primarily for taste and what have you. But I mean, I'm cooking in bulk and I'm cooking fast, and that's the way I prefer to do it. We've got some turkey burgers, and check it out, rice. Half of it's gone. I cooked most of it up yesterday, used half of it post-workout, other half's going today. So most of it, and when I went to express this, and I went to Whole Food because I didn't have enough protein the other day. I can't tell you why that happened. But with that being said, I cook in bulk, and I do it all at once. And it's kind of the parent life for people who say that food is either too expensive. You go to Sheld's Farms, you go to some of those other places, you get it in bulk, and maybe I spend 2 hours cooking. It doesn't really take all that long to make a lot of it, maybe 3 depending on what you want to make. But you just make all this stuff in bulk, and then I eat, nothing fancy.
So one of the things we like to do with these videos is, with Andrew, we talked about the fact that he was a student. Mitch is training to go to regionals. Carl, rugby player, rugby coach. You're a CEO, OPEC certified coach. You trained for the CrossFit Open. You've done a 50-mile run. Tell us about what you found works best for you with performance and all the things you have on your plate, because you got a lot of different stuff you're trying to take care of. What sort of unique things have you learned about the way you work best in terms of fueling for training and things like that?
Well, I think it's important to note that a lot of people have these goals, and sometimes very often they're fantasies. They're not actual goals.
Yeah.
If I can talk about, yachting and talking about sailing the world, but unless I'm actually studying how to do yacht stuff and saving up, and then it's a fantasy and it's not an actual reality. So when it comes to stuff like that, people, they say they have these lofty goals that they're trying to eat for or trying to do nutrition for. In the past, I did more competitive stuff, and then being CEO and then being more aggressive with business practices, I had to pull back the goals to match that, because you got to be aware of what levers you need to pull and how much you need to fuel yourself, because it's a full-time job, and you had to kind of pick and choose. But with that being said, with my goals just being longevity and feeling good and performing well enough, I'm not trying to go to the games or go to regionals, but I like to be strong, and everyone wants to look good naked. They want to feel good, have good energy, sustained energy through the day, and perform reasonably. There's no reason I have to do a triple backflip, handstand, and push up. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm eating for right now, is just longevity and health and all that kind of stuff. And then my diet reflects that. Mostly protein, as much as I can kind of digest. I pay attention to my digestion. A little under, actually, gram per pound of body weight right now. Fat winds up being about 0.6 grams per pound of body weight, and then carbs fluctuate. I push the carbs when I'm having a heavy day, and then on a day like today, I may come in and drink a little coffee with some butter in it and some protein powder in the morning, and then I may fast if I'm not doing much training throughout the day, and then get onto it. So
awesome. So tell us about nutritional off-roading. So what are your top, 3 to 5 off-plan foods, and what are like some major special occasions that you like to have off-plan foods for?
So even if it is a special occasion, when I feel like my willpower is high, you ever had somebody like offer you some of your favorite foods, and you're like, I don't really want it. I take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I take advantage of that. Willpower being a depletable resource.
Finite.
When I have good willpower, no thanks. When I'm having bad willpower, we know what that's like. Then what I do is I still try and talk myself out of that kind of stuff, and just between that. But special occasions, you're looking at some pizza. I like pizza, Silver Beaks pizza.
Awesome.
Some baked goods, and then tacos, that kind of stuff. Just normal food, but it's got to be good. Can't be a sheet cake from the grocery store or anything like that.
Yeah, can't get a sheet cake from Wal-Mart.
Yeah.
So last thing is, any advice? You've been at this for a long time. Any advice to people who are starting out, trying to change their diet for the better? Any thoughts on your journey and what you've learned and what you could teach others nutritionally?
Yeah, I think it goes into a lot of what we do as a business. Move slow, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Don't get obsessed with the destination. You should be aware of where you want to be. But just because your weight hasn't changed in 1 or 2 weeks, what you do is you pivot and you change and you notice. You look for explanations, you change something, you prescribe something different, you action it, and then you just go through concentric circles of that just again and again and again until you find what works for you. So one is enjoying the journey and enjoying the process and learning yourself and being very aware of that. Don't be dogmatic. Just because somebody's a vegetarian or they do this diet or that diet, if it's working for them, great, good on you. That's fantastic. It's kind of hard to fit all those things. Don't make nutrition sexy. Pay attention to, be wary of marketing and what marketing's doing for you. Educate yourself. Learn to flip it over and look at the back of the ingredients and start to understand that, and just be aware of what you're doing. Those 3 things are a good start. So
awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Brandon. Appreciate it.